we take our two little skinny ones, and what you want to do on this is we are going to line them up right here. So they are much longer than this. You should have about 1 inch on each end. And that's what you want. Okay, you want to make sure that you have lots of welt on the end because it has to flip through. And if you don't have enough, then it's going to be really awkward. Right, get rid of your tailor tacks now. They're done and gone. And if you leave them in, what happens is that it's just one more thread you have to try to get out of after you've stitched. So now I'm laying this on here, and I am giving myself a good inch on each end, maybe even a little bit more. I'm line up this stitch with that one right there. I'm going to come in, I'm going to lay that down, and I'm going to do it like this. And yes, I am going to back stitch, and I'm going to continue to make sure that this stitch right here lines up with that stitch right there. And so then you stop for a minute and you look and you just make sure that it lines up. Stop for a minute and look. And then when you get to the very end, and you back stitch a little bit, and you have that right there. Trim your threads every single time because you don't want them to get caught into anything. Don't wait and trim them all at the end like Tiara did. That Tiara was more fun to tease her when she was here. Alright, so then you look at that and go, oh, okay, look, that's going to be quite lovely. And I followed the line quite closely. Right? If you find you turn it over and it's all over the place, unpick it and start again. This one was not that big a deal. This one I didn't matter. I'm just going to unpick that stitching there. But this one, because I'm putting two pieces together, two welts together, it has to be exact. So then, oh man, there it is. I take the other one. I'm going to do the exact same thing. So I give myself a good inch on the back, and I find where it is. And then I just go like this. You see now why I trimmed those, eh? Because they match up now. If you trim them about how about 1/8 of an inch, then they match up into the middle. Okay. Now this is the tricky part. You want these two to end up just exactly the same. So I'm kind of going by where I ended here, and I'm going to end up here at the exact same spot. And then back stitch. So you might have to unpick this one and do it 2 or 3 times, right? Okay, you will have to unpick this and do this 2 or 3 times. Then you look over here and you go, okay, that's pretty even. Did I end up the same? So what you do is you go like this and you go, okay, are these the same? Oh, look, they're not. This one ended here and this one right here. I'm missing about 2 stitches. So I need to fix that. And then over here, well, they're lined up almost exactly. So that's nice, but this one I have to fix. So luckily it's nice when we're just doing a half jacket because you only have to match it up to itself. When you're doing a full jacket, you then have to get one pocket perfect, and then you have to match it up exactly with the same length to the other pocket. Alright, so now I'm going to look again and see if now I've matched it up, added another couple of stitches. See, look, pretty close. Alright, so I have that. Then we take this. So when it's finished, like how this one, you know, was inside out and turned up and went like this, when this is done, this is going to come down like this, and that's going to come like that. Okay, and form that welt. This is our flap, and we want it when it's done to look like this. So we flip it up. So it's always good. Okay, this is what I want it to look like finished, but if I just sewed it in like this, when I do everything, it's going to be on the bottom. We want it to be on the top so that it can flip over and cover the bottom welt, or it can flip inside of the pocket like that. Yeah, so you want to see that top welt, so we have to stitch it like this. So you want to take that and you have to line that up with those edges right there. And this one doesn't have a 1/2 inch seam allowance, it just has this little 1/4 inch. And I need to line it up, and oh, I remember this from last time. Shoot, I forgot. This is way big. Dang it. Okay. I'm just going to cut it, and I'll adjust your pattern. This is nicely finished now. It's the invisible nicely finished. Because this has to be the exact same width as this. All these things I remember from last year that I was going to fix, and I did not. I'm so sorry. All right, so it has to be right there. So I'm going to follow that exact same line, and you don't want to miss up on that line because it's going to mess up your welt. So you're going to be very careful. It's okay to kind of go in a little bit, but you can't go that way too much because then you'll make your welt too small. But you can go into the welt seam allowance just a little bit, and you'll be fine. So let me help you adjust your patterns, your pieces before you sew this flap together. All right, so now I attach that. Then what you want to do is you want to check, you want to go like this and make sure that your welt is still pretty. Because if you happen to have done like this, so what happens oftentimes is people sew too far this way and all of a sudden they have like a teeny welt, right? So make sure your welt is exactly the same. All right, so then we have that. Now we have this piece. This, when it's finished, we want it to be inside right here, right? So we want, this is the piece that, I don't have it on mine, but David has it on his.
I don't think any of them are open.
Oh, they're not open. That, if they were open, it would be the piece on the back where the bottom of your hand goes in. And what that is for is so that when your pocket is open, you just see the color of the suit. You don't see the lining, right? Now that's a traditional tailored suit. A lot of the new fun ones don't have them because it's more fun to see cool lining like that. I know. Isn't that awesome? Yeah. I wish you could get lining like that. That was rayon. Oh,
Right?
oh, so fun, right? But because we're doing traditional first, and then you can break the rules, you want to make sure that then it's put up like this, so that raw edge is right here. Because that raw edge is going to go in that seam allowance. And then you just go like this, make sure there's some on each side. And you're going to match up the notch. That notch goes on the seam, on the welt seam, and on the welt seam. Okay. So if I were to go like this and flip it up, that notch right there is right there on the welt. And then you can see this is going to disappear. Right? It's the right direction, right? I haven't done one for you.
Take time to think, because then
it goes inside, or is it? Oh, my brain just died on me. Or is it opposite?
So you're sewing it. That's the way you want it to be inside.
Yeah.
No, you want it to be finished like this.
You want it
because
finished
we're
like
gonna
this.
cut here.
Yep. Give us a moment. Why am I rethinking? Okay, I'm going to do it this way and just see if it's the right way.
I think it is.
I think it is too.
Because then when you cut and flip, then
Yeah.
it goes in. Then you
Yeah,
see it
because
the
you
right
can't.
way.
You don't want to flip. You don't want to cut through. Okay.
No, you're cutting
right.
this
You're
way.
cutting through here. Sorry. Man.
Take a moment.
Wow. The trick is too is that because what you want to do when you're thinking that, and that's why it's good that we were kind of going through that, is where you're going to cut like you just did this one up here. You did that little cut. It's going to be cut in between right here, this teeny bit. We're going to cut here, and we don't want to cut through this. So that's why that's above. There we go. Wow. All right, so I'm laying that on there. So that is being laid on the fold sign right up there is being laid on that welt sign, welt seam. And then you can do the same thing. You can put a pin at the top and a pin at the bottom if you want, or you can do a quick tailor tack, hold it in place, flip it over, or you can just hold it in place. And you don't do the edges. Remember last time you did the edges up here? We went all the way around. This time we do not. We go from corner to corner. So we're going to back stitch. And I'm going to go on this. And I'm just going to go to the corner, and I want to make sure that my corners match exactly. Okay. And then I'm going to come here and make sure you back stitch. And I'm going to come like this, making sure that you've got all this. That's why it's handy to pin it, just to get it out of the way. And I'm going to stitch on here, and then make sure that I'm going all the way to here, so everything matches up. Back stitch. Okay. Oh, and then, you know, obviously let your foot be on the pedal and just stitch randomly through your fabric like I just did. And all we do is we're going to cut it. Same thing. So I'm going to go like this. I'm going to cut through one layer right down the middle, and give yourself about a 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch. Three-quarters of an inch is the best. Gives you just that little bit of extra leeway. Do not ever go less than 1/2 inch to the end of this. You will hate your life so much. Yeah, it'll fray, you won't be able to catch it, and it'll just be awful. Come on, baby. I have the perfect little snips at home for this. Just go, they go right in there, and they're really sharp and small, not these big monster scissors. Come on. These are great thread snips, but they're not great for fabric. But again, you will have to get right to the corner. If you don't get right to the corner, it's not going to work. Oh, thank you. Because watching me right now is very painful, isn't it? Thank you. These are much better. Okay. So I'm going to come here.
You almost chew it faster.
I know, that's what I'm thinking. Sheesh.
Gnaw on it for a while.
Get my teeth in here. Holy Dinah. Come on. Get to the corner. You can do it. You can do it.
This is where Erica Veltman went right
yeah,
through her
she did, didn't she?
Cutting open a welt. Yeah.
Yeah, so be super careful cutting open welts. What's that? Yeah, because then your whole front of your suit is destroyed, and you've put. That's when we used to teach traditional tailoring too, where you had to pad stitch your entire lapel.
And the chest piece.
And the chest piece, and the entire collar. No machine stitching anywhere for that. Yep, it took hours. One student, Caitlin, oh my gosh, Caitlin Power, her suit, she had a massive double-breasted suit with leather piping. It was this big, huge houndstooth, which was similar to What's-Her-Face's last year. Oh my gosh, so much pad stitching. But it paid off, because then her line was all about tailoring. Then you go like this. You stick your pocket bag through. We did it right, thank goodness. And then, here's the little tricky part. So you stick your pocket bag through, and then this little V that you've created, then you have to stick these little things, these little teeny welts, through those. Through that little V in the back. And I find using a pin sometimes, or a point turner, thank you. Sometimes you just have to open it up a little bit, but we're going to stick those through. This is the painfully slow part, watching me. Even more painfully slow than the other part. Oh,
You never rush welts, though.
No, you can't.
You can't.
If you rush them, then they don't work. Come on, baby. I also like to use my seam ripper here, oftentimes. Oh, that's why I didn't get through all of this. There's no opening for me to go through. There we go. That's better. And it's fraying like crazy. So you're gonna have a lot of fun on this one, Austin. You might want to make your welts a little bit bigger than 1/4 of an inch, and your opening a little bit bigger than 1/2 inch. Otherwise, it just might not work because it's such thick fabric. And same with the same with yours, Nisha. Practice with this size, but you're probably going to end up using making your welts for your actual one bigger and your pocket opening bigger. Okay. So you just play with it until it gets out. Get it through there. Oh, there we go. And you stick that welt through there. And it has to go through that itty bitty opening. And once it goes through that itty bitty opening, then you go like this. And you pull the welts from the wrong side, like that. And then look at how beautiful that is. And if they are overlapping, it means that you have probably made your opening a little bit too small, and you might have to cut it open a little bit. And we pull them, and Dave and I will help you. We'll pull them and then they just make it perfect. And if you've gone right to the corner on each one, that means that then it will be a nice straight corner. Okay? So I'm going to press this one. And then we'll show you how to do the pocket.